let's do some quick introductions. Yeah, go Blue Jays. I'm either a San Francisco Giants fan or a Blue Jays fan now. Who would have seen that coming? So I'm Miles Beckstead. I live in South Orange County in California on the West Coast. I lead our customer-facing teams here at ArborXR, so sales, customer success, support. You want to introduce yourself, Josh?
Yeah, and I'm Josh Franzen, based in Denver, Colorado. I'm principal product manager. So yeah, I lead our product team. I work closely with our engineers on building, developing features, manage the roadmap, and of course, work with customers on understanding their feature requests, their pain points, and how Arbor can address those.
Awesome. Thanks for joining me today, Josh. Okay, so let's dig into it. So we wanted to throw this webinar together as soon as possible after some of the news from last week, right? And so Meta announced some changes to Horizon Managed Services. I'm sure a bunch of people have seen some of the buzz if you are an XR in any capacity and you happen to be on LinkedIn or have followed the news in any way, you guys have been reading about that. And so what we wanted to provide ourselves as a resource, as a dedicated partner to Meta. We have the opportunity to meet with them regularly, and so we have a little bit more clarity than you might otherwise have. And there has been quite a bit, I'm sure you'd agree, Josh, there has been quite a bit of even misinformation, just incorrect stuff out there. And so we wanted to, put this together and make sure that we're helping be part of the solution as people are navigating what this change might mean for different organizations. And so we're doing a couple webinars today. We just did one for our ISV partners, our XR content creators. And this one is for customers or prospects of Arbor, or just people who are generally interested in XR or considering running a pilot, something like that. So we'll start to get into this, but please do chime in with questions. I think that's going to be the most valuable part of today's session. All right, so the first thing I'll say is that there are things that we know after talking to Meta, after reading everything that they've put out and working directly with our partners there, and there are things that we don't know yet. And so this is an evolving situation, right? And so we're going to get you guys the clarity that we have, and then we'll help you guys understand what we don't yet know. So what we do know for sure, so HMS is becoming free. So starting towards the end of February, HMS will be free. And it will not cost customers anything to use HMS to enroll Meta devices. The second bullet here is important, and we kept getting a bunch of questions for this. Why do we still need HMS? And the answer to that is yes. If you want to enroll your devices, HMS is still required, and so it isn't going away in that capacity, right? And so for customers of Arbor, the way to think about it is that HMS is still your enrollment method, and then once you've enrolled a device, you work within Arbor for everything else, right? Devices will still need to be configured to either shared mode or individual mode, so that's not changing. Happy to answer questions about exactly what that means, but that hasn't gone away. That is still kind of it can cause confusion, right? And I think those of us who help support XR fleets that, on Meta over the past year through this HMS, evolution, have seen that this causes a lot of confusion. People aren't necessarily sure which one they're in. And then also, in order to move from shared mode to individual mode or vice versa, a factory reset is required. Right, and so that's something else, and so that nuance is not going away. And as always, if you are on a Meta fleet, or you have at least some Meta devices, we have some documentation. We can help coach you through what you need to do and what mode is right for you. Anything to add on that, Josh?
Well, yeah, just to clarify, so to go from individual mode to shared mode, that's seamless. That doesn't require a factory reset. It's only going from shared mode back to individual mode, that would require a factory reset. And when you think of these modes in Arbor, it's basically Arbor Home or Arbor Kiosk mode. Those modes equal shared mode, whereas the device home environment option in Arbor, which is just the default, that is more or less individual mode.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. That's why I brought you, you know. Also, I just genuinely like having you around, of course. Didn't mean to say that's why I brought you. Okay, so commercial Quest SKUs are being sunset. So basically, I actually think I wrote this wrong. So Meta will stop selling enterprise versus commercial Quest headsets, right? And so all Quest hardware will be now on the consumer price in a consumer SKU. I think that's the easiest way to put it. And so if you were procuring Meta Quest devices through a partner, some of that may have been more expensive than it is now, slightly, right? Because there is only, as far as what we understand right now, there will only be a consumer-based price for Quest devices. Okay, and then this part is important. So HMS support window. So Meta has said that they will support HMS in quote unquote maintenance mode through January 4th, 2030. And so we shouldn't expect any new features. We should expect even less support from the Meta team than we've had so far. And this is, by definition, an end of life product, right? We don't know exactly what's going to happen after that date, but they aren't planning on investing in this further. Okay, and we're going to talk more about what we see that meaning, especially for customers that have a Quest fleet. But I think our overall high level take is that HMS is no longer Meta is no longer positioning it as a reliable device management platform. I think that's fair to say. And I think the biggest change is that for us at ArborXR, we can no longer recommend that you build an entire enterprise or even EDU XR program on just Meta, on just HMS, right? And we're going to get into kind of our reasoning for that. Bottom line here, before we continue, just because very important that we all understand this, enrollment stays via HMS, mandatory for all Meta devices. There's no barrier to payment, and so those people using Arbor do not need to pay for Arbor and HMS anymore, which we're extremely excited about, and there will be no future development on the HMS platform. So I'm gonna pause here. Josh, I don't know if you've been going through any of these questions, but I'm going to start looking at some of them and see if we should address any before we move on. Okay, nobody's upvoting. I'm gonna keep going if it's okay, and then we'll get into some of these questions a little bit later.
What does this mean for your XR program? Purchasing shifts. So Meta Quest hardware aligns with consumer pricing and channels. There is no longer an enterprise-only SKU. You can conceivably go to Meta. You can go to a retailer today and buy some Quest hardware and use it. Actually, sorry, forget that I said today. It is important that you be aware of the February 20th deadline, right? And so, consider that as you're making purchases. But after February 2nd, you could buy a device and enroll it that same day. Choose the MDM that you like. Of course, ArborXR is the greatest choice there. And then you're up and running, which is good. And so, as I mentioned, enrollment remains unchanged. Both existing and new devices will still require HMS for ArborXR enrollment or for any third-party MDM. And so that doesn't go away. And then the support structure changes, right? There will no longer be services really available. Meta has a reduced enterprise footprint. There's nobody really building for business-to-business sales or support on their side. And in my opinion, we should expect some concerns with long-term platform reliability not being a significant focus at Meta, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's a great point, Rob. 2030 is a long time, and the lifetime of a headset might be shorter than that. So, okay, so all this to recap, and then I'll go into questions, but before we continue, but it's easier to get started now, right? I still think the Meta Quest is a great way to spin up a quick, easy pilot. But I can, with these changes, and as somebody who's worked directly with, with XR programs throughout the maturity spectrum of, very small pilots to global tens of thousands of devices, and huge ROI integration within enterprise businesses. We get to work with 50 plus Fortune 500 companies that are leveraging XR throughout their businesses. Certainly for that, we can no longer recommend a Meta only fleet because of this, right? And this isn't, for those of us who have been in the industry, this is also not the first kind of evolution of this, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that as well. All right, so I'll pause there and let's look at we'll look at what questions we have so far. Okay. Lewis said, after provisioning the Meta Quest VR headset into ArborXR, will the Meta Quest store be available? Currently, this was a huge issue with our fleet after going through this process. Josh, you want to take this one?
Yeah, I'll take it, and then I'll also type out my answer just so it's in writing for reference. Oh, never mind. We're answering it live.
I'm sorry, I messed that up.
No, it's all good. No worries. Yeah. So the answer is basically the experience remains the same. So as it is today. So what that means is that if the device is in individual mode, meaning if it has a managed Meta account and if it's not configured to Arbor Home or Kiosk mode, then yes, you will have access to the App Store on the device. On the other hand, if the headset is configured to shared mode, meaning if you've kiosked the headset, you're using Arbor Home or Arbor's single app kiosk mode, then that removes the managed Meta account on the headset, and it also removes the App Store. So that's unfortunately not changing. That's not changing with any of these changes from Meta.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Let's take a couple more and then we'll continue with the slides. So I'll take Chris next. So HMS required for enrollment, meaning you have to enroll in HMS before ArborXR, and Josh's answer is good here. It's one single enrollment. It's pretty smooth. The Help Center article is right there. But yes, it is required. The process remains the same as it always has been, or it has been since HMS came out.
All right, so how can ArborXR help you move forward? And so ArborXR, we've been building for 9 years, coming up on our 10th year anniversary. Focused primarily on enterprise and EDU and the security and use case needs that businesses like that need. And we've done it in a flexible device agnostic kind of way, right? And so we're going to be talking more about that. But I think some of the things on the enterprise grade MDM side worth mentioning is that we've built with, we work with over 50 Fortune 500 companies, and we've been able to pass all of the security scrutiny that comes along with that. We give the enterprise the ability to manage fleets all over the world at scale, and control the nested groups that you need in order to match the permissions and content requirements of different teams throughout large global organizations, as well as customizable home environments, everything that a at-scale XR program needs. And so it's been our privilege to work with some of the largest and most mature XR programs in the world. And we've kind of taken all of that learning and we've put it directly into the product that we've built, and we're very proud of it. I'm sure Josh, especially having been doing this for 4 years as our head of product. I think this is a good moment for everybody to be thinking about the future of what their device strategy might look like, right? And so I mentioned this before. If you are If you are just looking for a good bang for the buck kind of device that's cheap and easy to acquire, Meta is actually the Meta Quest and Meta Quest 3 and 3S are a great option, especially if you're just trying to get a pilot off the ground and you need 10-ish devices. Go to Best Buy, buy 10 devices, and get your pilot up and running. I think for programs that are trying to get to scale and that need reliability and stability, as as there's more and more ROI coming out of the program, that's where we recommend really looking into the available VR and MR devices and choosing the one that's right for you, right? And so, for example, a Pico headset is slightly more expensive than a Meta headset, right? But there's a QR code enrollment method for Pico, and once you start having tens, if not hundreds or thousands of users that are trying to go through the enrollment flow and navigating shared versus individual mode on Meta, all of a sudden that added cost makes it worth it. You know what I mean? And there's also a lot more enterprise awareness with some of the other providers. Also really excited about Samsung and what they're doing. We're partnering closely with them, and they are building from the get-go with enterprise in mind. In a very in a quality headset, right? And it does come at a cost premium similar to the Apple Vision Pro, but they're building with enterprise in mind in a way that the Apple Vision Pro didn't, for example. And then the other thing to keep in mind is I believe strongly, I want to get your opinion, Josh, but I believe strongly that 2026 is going to be the year of some breakout AR and AI wearable tech that is going to start to, become widely available for schools and enterprises. And so you want to have a platform that will allow you to manage those, right? And so, a third party MDM like Arbor is a good thing to start exploring ahead of that. Anything you'd add there, Josh?
Yeah, no, I'd say I agree. I mean, I think we're seeing Android XR finally launch this year, right? So first with the Samsung Galaxy XR, that's more of a mixed reality device, but it leans very heavily into MR. So in that sense, it is quasi AR, I suppose. And then we're also we're hearing that the XReal Aura. That might be the code name. Don't know what the official name will be, but XReal Aura, which is also an Android XR device, that should launch later this year. That'll be a full AR device. And then, of course, yeah, we're Meta has several AI glasses, and then Google, or rather, Android XR should be releasing a pair of AI glasses as well. And so, we're also on the MDM side exploring how we can support AI glasses.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Josh. Okay, and then in terms of operational support, so we have had the privilege of partnering with thousands of XR deployments across EDU, healthcare, enterprise, defense. And so we can be a good resource in terms of supporting and even hand-holding you guys through whatever stage of your XR journey you're in. And we are investing in this quite a bit. And so, as head of customer success, I'm investing in hiring significantly so that we can provide more and more services for especially pilot management, but just support in general for XR programs that need help with onboarding, strategy. We are a great resource if you're looking for content. We have partnerships with all of the ISVs on the planet, and we're super aware of what's available out there. And so if we can help you or anybody with that, please point them our direction. And then, of course, we're here to help you guys navigate the transition away from Meta if that's where you're coming in from. And then the last thing to call out, big push for us this year is going to be about analytics, right? And so we know that programs, in order to succeed long term, need to be able to prove out ROI. And the easiest way to do that is to be able to track the analytics that matter and connect those to where you're already operating, right? And so, Arbor can now integrate with over 500 LMS systems, and we're helping all sorts of enterprise companies push the analytics and data that they are getting from their XR program into their BI system, so it can be visualized and managed just with the rest of their business metrics. And that's really, I'd say, one of the single biggest leaps in terms of maturity that will separate a successful XR program from a pilot that eventually doesn't work out. And so all this to say, if we can help with anything, please do reach out to us. I'll be providing a calendar link and happy to meet one-on-one with anybody and help come up with strategy associated with hardware, enrollment, content, and procurement. Okay. So yeah, I think I don't want to belabor the point too much here. I think 2 stats I'll share. So 80% of our large deployments on ArborXR use more than one AR and VR manufacturer, and that's actually, I think that's only getting bigger as we have more options, and as as AI wearables and AR become more prevalent, this is going to be an even bigger number.
If you see, these are our amazing and trusted customers. If you have questions about any of their use cases, or if you wanted an intro to folks at these companies that are doing some amazing things, we're happy to do that. And we'll keep on keeping on. Wanted to make sure I addressed, because I'm sure there are, we already saw a question here. My take, of course, I'm biased, but people have been saying XR is dead since XR started, right? And so, I mean, what I want to share is that even with HMS coming out and people having to double pay for, for MDM and enrollment methods and all of the different struggles that we went through with customers that were, navigating that change this year, it was still a banner year for ArborXR, and we're doing extremely well, and we continue to see both enterprise and education adoption grow, and there's more options now than there were last year, and I'm also super excited about all of the AR and AI wearables and the additional use cases that's going to allow, which is great. And then, yeah, I mean, somebody had asked about, like, hey, does this mean that Meta in general is moving away from XR? And I think no, right? So Meta had a great quarter. Like, they had a great Q4 in terms of like Meta Ray-Ban sales, and I think they're going to focus more on that, and there's going to be more products and options available there. Anything you'd add, Josh?
No, not. I think I already said it. Like, we're excited to see Android XR launch. We're working closely with Google and Qualcomm on making sure that we can support all devices that run Android XR.
Yeah.
Also working with Samsung as they bring their headset to market. So we'll continue. We remain committed to XR.
Awesome. All right. So that's all I wanted to make sure that I covered with you guys.
So let's get into the questions. We have unused paid HMS licenses. I think I know the answer, but any chance Meta will refund us? That's from Tom Andrew. And Josh, I'm just going through in terms of like what's most upvoted. So Ryan answered this. He said, we've asked Meta the same question. We haven't gotten an answer yet. So we are going to continue to, work with Meta to make sure that we get people the refunds that they need. All sorts of people have already reached out. Please feel free to reach out to us and just let us know that you're in that boat, and we'll try our best from our side. Of course, we don't control that at all, right? But it's good for us to know that how many folks are out there that need that, and so please do feel free to let us know. All right, Tess McKinney, do you think Meta will eventually get rid of the virtual reality headsets? Have you heard anything? Not everyone wants XR AI. I can see Ryan is typing this, but an answer to this, I can't see a world where they do. I guess it kind of depends on what you mean by get rid of, but I mean the Meta Quest 3 and the Meta Quest 3S are still great devices, and I don't think they're going anywhere. What did you say, Jeff?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we don't have full visibility into their hardware, product roadmap, so we don't know what future what this will, if they'll continue to release new VR headsets. But I think we expect them to.
Yeah, awesome. Oh, cool. We got Ryan here. So Ryan's been traveling a little bit, but great to have him. So Ryan is kind of our front guy in terms of our Meta relationship, and he works very closely with them, talking to them almost every day. Anything you'd just add in general, Ryan, or is there a specific question you want to dig in on?
Just to that one, can you hear me fine?
Yes.
Okay, just to that one that you asked, Tess. No, we haven't heard anything to that effect at all. What we did hear, and I think this is just good for everybody in this call to hear this, is what Meta was hoping to do was to separate the way that these headsets were sold. Was consumer one way, and then channel was going to handle like education, enterprise deployments, and obviously we can't share the exact numbers that we have from them, but there was still a really high percentage of devices that were being purchased for education and for enterprise through consumer channels. And so the way that we have taken that information from them, the way we've kind of processed it with them, is not that they're looking to end anything, end any hardware, end any programs. It's more that they just decided, okay, well, if everybody wants to buy consumer, then that's what we're going to do. And we're going to go that route. So I would just say that it kind of goes back to what Miles said earlier, is Meta has decided that all their chips are going to go into the consumer bin, if you will, or that machine. And I think that's going to, in one way, make it a lot easier for all of us to utilize Meta devices in deployments that are easy to, quote unquote, easier or smaller or less complex. But I think it's going to be really hard for any of us to find true scaled motions. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of state departments that are purchasing headsets that are consumer. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of big RFPs out there that go out that say, hey, we want consumer equipment. We all know how that works in traditional tech. So I just wanted to say that really fast. I don't see them pulling away from this hardware. I think this hardware is going to be there. I think it's going to be great, continue to be great hardware. But I do think the reality is like, for all of you here that are thinking like, how do I get this stuff out to my school properly? You might just have to buy headsets for a bit that have like Batman preloaded on them. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the fact. And I think that we all know that like, that's not necessarily where we want all of this to go. So I don't think it's going to stop, Tess, but I think it kind of does flag for us, all of us, a little bit of lighthouse of where we want to go,
Yeah.
Hope that's helpful.
Yeah, really well put, Ryan. And I think like enterprise IT teams are already talking to us about like, hey, we just as a policy can't support a use case that relies on an end of life product like this. And so, yeah, all very well put. Okay. Roger Crow had another one that Ryan already mentioned, but we'll get into it just because I know some people are just listening in. What is the current relationship between Meta and Arbor? Is Meta advocating for ArborXR to take the mantle of the MDM of choice for enterprise level setups? Ryan, do you want to take that one? You're the best guy to speak to this.
If anybody asks this outside of this call, by the way, everybody on this call, just say yes. That's the answer, is yes. Absolutely. We're the preferred solution. But no, in reality though, Roger and anybody else on this call, is Meta, they, in conversations with us, and I'm sure they've had these conversations with others, they are not going to be there to really support high touch deployments. And when I asked the definition of high touch, they were like pretty much any touch. And so like the support teams, the people that have been there from a solution architect standpoint, people that we've really enjoyed working with, they are not going to be in the same positions, whether that means that they're let go or they are reassigned. And hopefully it's reassigned. All of us hope that. So the bottom line is, because they're not there, Meta has made it clear, like, we don't have the people, so we really want Arbor to step up as, the MDM of choice for enterprise. A lot of that's all enterprise customers want to have an MDM they can work with closely with and speak directly to and get a human on the line and have a success team, a support team, roadmap in front of them. That's where we'll step in. And I think that that's going to be the line that Meta holds for quite some time, is that they need their third-party partners to step up. So I hope I answered the question well enough, but in reality, like, it's not just a Meta will want that. It's the option. That's and we're proud to serve that place, that gap. But that is where we are.
Okay, love it. I'm going to skip down through some that we either answered live or we answered adequately in the chat. Okay, Paul, so you had a question. Our ArborXR renewal may come before the HMS price structure shift. Will we be still required to pay the HMS charge, or should we just wait? Paul, I'll just ask you to write in to us. You can write directly to me and I'll help you with this. Miles at ArborXR. If we need to extend your renewal 30 days to make this easier for you, we can. Yeah. But only Paul. Not everybody gets to do that. Just Paul, because he asked. That's a joke. Will Meta still provide support through HMS until 2030? So we talked about this a little bit. Yes, kind of unclear what exactly that means, but they have called it quote unquote maintenance mode. And whatever support we had before, which was sometimes suboptimal, is going to be even harder to come by. Anything you'd add there, Ryan?
I think the only thing I would say here is, just double clicking on what Miles said. Yeah, it's gonna be tough, the responses. I think all of us know that, like, some of those tickets were responded to quickly, some were not. And I think that that's going to remain the case and maybe get a little bit, like, harder to come by support. One thing I would say is, like, obviously we are here to help. I think that's a big piece of this. The reason we're on this call is just to show you all that, like, we're here to answer questions. But then also, I would say, like, if you have existing devices and they're already managed under Arbor and you're wondering, like, who can help me with these devices, who can help me with my deployment, definitely talk to us. But also know that, like, Arbor has a huge network of partners that do that type of thing. I mean, one of them is on this call at least. But Tess McKinney runs a group called XR Renegades, and then we have friends at VR Expert, and we have friends at overseas in Europe, a bunch of them. But, like, I think just knowing that there are people in place in this industry that are not leaving, that are not going over to consumer, just keep that in mind. It's like, we've got a lot of people, so reach out to us and we can kind of help get you to the right folks if it's not us, for sure.
Awesome. Okay. So this is important. If I need to order a new headset today, should I just order the consumer version? The answer is yes, but you would need to do it today through an approved Meta reseller, right? Or you can wait till February 20th, right? So just be mindful about whether you can wait until February 20th, and that might change what you want to do. We have found that some apps we want are not on the HMS store or Arbor store. Is the HMS store likely to not be maintained going forward or unlikely to expand? Josh, you want to take that?
Yeah, I think the honest answer, and actually I think Ryan, you typed this out, but then it didn't send, so I hit enter and then it posted it as I responded. But yeah, I think you nailed it. I mean, it's not very clear if if they will continue to expand on the Meta managed app store, which you can find in HMS, and it's not clear if they will be making that available through third-party MDMs like Arbor. The plan was to make the managed app store available through third-party MDMs, but this was late last year before all of these changes and these announcements that HMS is now in maintenance mode. So yeah, our hope is that we are able to, deliver on the Meta managed app store, but at this time it is unclear, and we're chasing our contacts at Meta to get some clarity there.
Okay. All right. So from Alexander, so does commercial Quest SKU sunset mean that newly purchased devices after February 20th will only be cheaper, or also that they are no longer manageable? Ryan, you want to take this?
Yeah, they will. So after February 20th, everything shifts over to consumer model. So at that point, pricing becomes whatever the consumer rates are based on region, just like kind of, with anything else. If you're going to go buy an iPad for your business and you went to the Apple store, you pay whatever the rates are at the Apple store. That's what it'll be. So your consumer rates based on your the channel you're purchasing through. They will be manageable because all devices after that point in time will effectively be consumer devices. Something that Meta has said, and you all here know this, you're on this call, that means you know this. None of their devices were ever really different. There was never any hardware difference. They were just, marking them in a system to say this serial is quote unquote enterprise and gets HMS. Moving forward, all devices will be seen the same way, and they can be enrolled into Arbor via HMS with no hiccups. We're going to have process on that. Josh highlighted earlier. As soon as we have the step-by-step of how the HMS side will work, and as that adjusts, we'll get that updated in our own documentation. So you'll be able to get a consumer device after February 20th and get it into ArborXR management, no issue. The one thing to note, and I think I put this in my response, is they will not have any of the enterprise warranty stuff. So it's just important to note that we've had quite a few people raise that flag, that matters to them. And so just keep in mind, it will be a consumer device, and consumer devices obviously come with their own policies and procedures and terms of service and things like that. So it will be consumer.
But to reiterate, they will be manageable. You will be able to enroll them into Arbor. It's just you'll need to enroll them through HMS.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. On to Peter. Sykerman, any idea how the teams behind HMS? Ryan, you just want to take this one? It seems like you just posted it.
Sorry, I just did that one. I didn't even know if you were going to highlight it.
No worries.
Yeah, Peter and everybody here, again, like I said it earlier, I have met with all these people on an almost weekly basis, or a lot of them on the Meta side. It's really sad to say that some of them have been let go. Quite a few of them have been let go or reassigned. Undoubtedly, response times will be impacted. Undoubtedly, the types of responses or the types of questions or needs that get responses will also adjust over time. And then, for some people on this call, you might have had a named Meta account manager. That will also change. So I just wanted you all to know, like those things will be impacted. We hate to say that because we know that that's people's jobs and livelihoods that are impacted there. But that is what's happening. So I hate to say it, but Peter, yes, the response times will be probably longer.
Okay, so we have 3 more. So let's just get through all of them, I guess. So Jonathan asked, if I'm currently having an issue with my HMS deployment, will Meta continue to help fix that beyond the February date, or will I be stuck with the issue?
I can probably take that.
Go ahead.
If I may, let me. How do I answer this question live? Well, either way,
it works sometimes, and other times it hasn't been working.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I can do it.
Address it. Yeah. The answer is we hope that Meta will continue to fix these issues. We do have a Jira board with them, so it's a way for us to sort of escalate bug reports to them that aren't Arbor issues, but rather Meta issues. And they've told us to continue using that board even after February 20th. And so what I would say is, like, one, there's no guarantees, but if there is some issue that's impacting your deployment, you can definitely reach out to our support team about it. And then, we can do what we can to escalate that to Meta. But again, with the expectation that, we can't make any promises that Meta will respond to that.
Awesome. So Peter had another question about casting, which I think we actually already talked through. Check out, we call it remote view, and there is a help center article about that. If you wanted to just search ArborXR remote view on Google, it would drive you there. So that is an available feature that we have. Then can we enroll new devices after Feb 20? Yes. So you will be able to continue to enroll new devices. And is this being recorded? And yes, it will be. And everybody who either registered or attended will get a recording of this, and then we'll also be sending out the deck. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to check real quick in the chat and see if there's anything else that we should have addressed. Looks good. I want to thank everybody for taking time the day after a long weekend for those of us here in the States. If there's anything that we can help with, so I put a calendar link in the chat. And if you book time there, you'll be routed to somebody from our customer success team. These are folks that day in, day out talk to people about their XR programs, and we're here to help. And would love to connect with all of you guys if I don't already have you on LinkedIn. And thank you guys so much for your interest and for your business and for your support. And looking forward to a bright 2026. Awesome. Thanks, everybody. We'll see ya.
Thanks all.